Hey, what can I help you with?
I've got a Civil War drum.
Okay.
I've been in the family since I was a kid.
Why did you need a band in the Civil War?
I came down to the pawn shop today because I've got a Civil War drum that I'd really like to sell. It doesn't have too much sentimental value to it, so that's why we decided to sell it. Well, I'd like to get maybe $2,000 for it.
So where did you get this thing?
A good family friend of ours who collected Civil War, antiques, she gave it to us as a gift. Seeing that it's 13 stars, I figured it was pretty old.
Why is there only 13 stars?
This is like the idealistic flag, 13 stars from the Revolutionary War when we had 13 colonies. They've been putting it on stuff ever since. It's just symbolic. You would still put on something today. During the Civil War, believe it or not, they usually just had kids carry the drums.
Wow.
They would actually play these things going into battle. And the reason they'd have a kid playing it is because you could have an older guy use a rifle with a bayonet a lot better.
I wouldn't want to be that kid, man.
During the Civil War, a lot of kids enlisted into the Army as musicians, so they could follow their dads and older brothers into battle. By some estimates, the Union Army had over 100,000 soldiers under the age of 15. It's made from tin. You see the wearing right here?
Mm-hmm.
That was probably rubbing from, like, leaning against someone's body, hanging off someone's body. Did you put the silicone glue on there?
Don't know how that happened.
Obviously, at one point, this was loosening up, and someone decided to fix it. And besides that, it's in wonderful shape. You have all this inlay in the wood. You have this tin work. And things like that from the Civil War are pretty damn rare, and they're pretty expensive. I'm always interested in Civil War stuff. There's just so many die-hard collectors out there that I can sell to and turn a profit. And if this drum was actually used in battle during the Civil War, that makes it super valuable. Okay, I got some concerns. I think it's a little too fancy to be military. The military is more utilitarian, and this doesn't look that utilitarian. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, this looks like the real deal, though.
Okay, I would like someone to take a look at this thing. Let me call a buddy of mine. We'll get this thing figured out.
Okay.
I'll be right
All
back.
You bet.
A legit Civil War drum has got all kinds of potential buyers, from Civil War buffs to guys who collect antique musical instruments. I really hope it checks out.
What do we have?
Apparently we have a really old drum, and I figured if anybody would know anything about it, would be another old drum.
The guys normally call me down when they have an artifact that they want a little bit more information about. One of the interesting things about snare drums, and this would have been a snare drum. You'd have a head on one side that was just the normal skin, and on the underside of it, you would have the snares running across, and you use those to add to the sound. Because the whole point of the drums was you had to have those in order to communicate on the battlefield, in order to communicate while you were marching. The drummer would have a special cadence to play, and then you knew, okay, that was my group, I'm supposed to charge now, or I'm supposed to retreat. You needed some kind of way to signal your troops.
So if you're trying to do a sneak attack on somebody, Mark?
You don't use the drum. You just tell them to go.
Oh.
The role of the drummer in the Civil War was similar to many wars before that. You needed a way of communicating before radios. What are your concerns on it?
Okay, I just want to know, is it a military drum, and is it from the Civil War era? Because it just looked really ornamental for a military drum.
Interestingly, in the Civil War, a lot of the drums used were quite fancy. They would normally have an eagle on them or a flag on them. They would be painted. These were used to an extreme extent during the war. But as I look at this, I don't think this one is Civil War. I think what you have is a very nice early parade drum. The Civil War drums never did this kind of press work into the wood. This is a later 19th century style of decoration. The size is unusual for the Civil War period. It would have been a deeper drum at that time. But it's still a wonderful example of a late 19th century drum.
Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Not a
You're
problem.
the best.
Thank you.
Well, I'm really disappointed. I really believed it was from the Civil War, but apparently it's not. It still seems like it's a valuable piece.
Yeah, there's still money here. So how much are we looking to get out of it?
How about 2,000?
You don't have $2,000 here. I will give you like $400 though.
Four? But it's a real drum. It was, you know, it's the real
I know
deal.
it's a real drum, but if it was Civil War, it's a military collectible. Civil War nuts will buy it and everything. We have more of a decorative piece. That's the difference.
How about 8?
I'll give you 450.
Tell you what, I'll settle for 5, but I can't go any lower than that.
You know what? I think I can make money at 5.
Okay.
All right,
Good,
500
good deal.
bucks.
All right.
Write them up, chum.
All right, meet you over there.
Even though it's not from the Civil War, I'm pretty satisfied, you know, with what I'm getting for it, so I can handle 500.